McKeever here. Hopefully you guys can hear and see me. Give me a thumbs up in the comment section if you guys can hear me. Tonight is election night, so I figured let's talk and live stream about the election. So jump in the comment section. Feel free to share your projections, your opinions, your whatever. Try and keep it tasteful in the comment section, but otherwise jump in. I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts on everything going on with the Canadian election. Right now, we're definitely still in the very early phase of the election, but results are slowly starting to trickle in here. So we'll regularly be pulling up the screen share here as things kind of develop. Right now, this is on CBC's. Actually, I think it was. Let me know who's got the best live stream action, but I kind of feel like Globe and Mail is near the top. At least for what it looks like. However, it seems like it's also not kind of giving you the initial things, only the final, or it's not live updating. Okay, there we are. So obviously it's very early, right? We're only dealing with leading. There's no elected seats yet. But hey, the Conservatives got 48% of the popular vote, although I think it's only Newfoundland and maybe Labrador right now that are coming into play at the exact moment. But again, love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, and everything in regards to the Canadian federal election here. Feel free to say whether you voted red, blue, orange, other blue, green, purple, or other. And yeah, we'll just kind of chat about the election. Obviously, I've shared with you guys my opinions in the past that at the end of the day, we can't count on the government to save us. We need to each take individual ownership over our situations and, try and set ourselves up for success. And so that's really is what I'd encourage you guys to do here as well. Certainly vote if you're so inclined. Certainly speak your voice if you're so inclined. However, at the end of the day, no one's going to care more about you, your family, your money, or your health than you. And if they do, well, obviously shame on you. But I'll be packing a bowl here. If you guys feel like smoking at home, feel free to. Otherwise, no pressure. And yeah, I'm not like, I don't even know. Is there good pundits for us to kind of live stream while other people are also talking about the election? I should have planned this in advance. I could have got Mark from Canada Polly Polly on a live stream with us tonight. And we could have maybe live streamed our opinions. I don't know if he's doing anything. Let me see. I don't see a live post here. But yeah, love to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Alan saying he voted PPC mainly to get Bernier into the next debates. Yeah, and I think there is a reasonable perspective there. And I certainly would love to see Purple pick up a handful of seats this election, mainly because I would hate for them to lose any of the momentum that they've got up until this point. I think it's been really cool to see the grassroots approach that they've been implementing throughout their campaign. And even last night, I was driving home from my parents' farm, and I was driving through Lucan, which is just kind of a small town north of the city of London, Ontario here. And it was maybe 6:30 p.m., and there was, two ladies on the corner of the Tim Hortons corner, the only main intersection with a set of lights in Lucan, holding up the PPC, the local candidate sign there, and getting people to kind of honk or wave as they were going by. So, it was definitely cool to see that sort of grassroots movement. I'm pretty sure there's probably been very rare incidences where someone else has done that the night before an election in Lucan. So, again, regardless of what party ends up in power, it's definitely been great to see Max, getting out there, speaking his truth, running on the platform that he's running on. Again, me being just a political cynic at heart, anyone that wants to go into politics inherently almost should anyone that wants to get into politics almost should be barred from getting into politics for the sheer reason that they want to get into politics. So again, that's just my inner cynic. But certainly if there was a party to vote for, I kind of would lean Purple these days. But again, love to hear which direction you guys were leaning, what you guys end up doing. And, what do you think the real impact is going to be here? So if we end up with a liberal minority, are we just back where we started, or do you think things change drastically? If we end up with a conservative minority, are we still pretty much back where we started, or do you think things change drastically? Do you envision a majority? When the election was originally called, I kind of was I was very scared that the Liberals were going to sweep, because that's what a lot of the initial polls were doing. That's what all the pundits were talking about. And then it seemed as the election actually started to develop, the narrative really started to evolve. And it started to seem like it was going to be a much closer race than a lot of us were originally led to believe. These days, it's so hard for me to trust anything in mainstream media, though. I guess I won't really believe it till I see it. And again, that's probably just me and my inner cynic. But let's smoke a bowl, see a few people jump in the comment section. Feel free to share your opinions. And yeah, love to just hear where your thoughts are. I'll pull up the screen share here again from the CBC website. Again, it's so early in the election, we don't really have too much to comment or speak on. But it will be interesting to see how this all shakes out eventually. I was trying to remember, and my memory's a little foggy here, but is it usually around like midnight or 1 p.m. that we, or 1 a.m., I should say, that we start to really know which way the wind's blowing in a Canadian election? I don't know if I've got the stamina to stay up that late. It might be past my bedtime, but you guys let me know. When do you expect us to kind of know which way the wind's blowing? And that might dictate how long we stay on this live stream. Now, originally, I was going to share a bunch of information with you guys about the Citadel, the community I'm building. I got a feeling it's going to be better if I just end up leaving that for another day. Maybe later this week, we'll even do a live video, because Peter's put together some great clips of the Citadel, of me kind of walking around, talking about what my vision of it is, what I'm really trying to accomplish. And yeah, we'll kind of, we'll share that with you guys on another night. So again, we're really just looking at very early in the election, so not really expecting too much to go down. The one thing I'll say about this election cycle, I was honestly shocked and taken aback by the rhetoric and the venom that it seemed like Trudeau was spitting at the unvaxxed. I did not anticipate at the start of this election that sort of virtual coming out of his mouth, and that he would be so divisive with his language. Maybe I was naive in that sense. I probably should have just kept on my cynic hat throughout the entire process. But yeah, I didn't see it coming. I thought that he wouldn't focus on fear to try and drive his election. But here we are. Bang saying that they can still vote in Regina for another hour and a half. Yeah, I forget. I think I had it pulled up here somewhere where it was saying when all the different times come in, but or when everything, all the polls officially close in the different time zones or regions. But I might have actually accidentally closed that tab. Oh, here we are. So all polls close on election day at various local times. So yeah. Newfoundland and Labrador closed at 8:30 p.m. Their time. Here in the Eastern, it's 9:30. Oh, is it that late? I didn't realize it was that late. Huh, interesting. Yeah, so I'm probably not going to live stream till past 10 p.m. That seems like a low probability for me. But again, would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions in regards to where you think they're going to go. And, you know, here's been the results kind of from the national, or I guess the NANOS national tracking poll. So we can see when the election was originally called around August 12th, it was looking like 33% red, 28% blue, 20% orange, and PPC was only 2%. As we kind of progressed, though, throughout the election, now we're landing at 32 red, 31 blue, and 6.6 for purple, which is great to see. And NDP seems to be losing ground. And I think, you know, this election, there was a lot of talk and a lot of concerns from, I think, pretty much every corner of the political spectrum over, you know, potentially splitting votes, right? And so you heard this, you know, regularly in regards to the PPC. You know, people would be arguing, oh, you got to vote conservative to make sure you voted Trudeau out. Obviously, PPC voters and supporters were pushing, no, we need to show what actually matters, right? Because can you guys really tell the difference between Justin Trudeau and Aaron O'Toole these days? I wish there was a more obvious distinction between the two of them and their platforms. And for me, it was very frustrating to see Trudeau throughout his campaign just choosing to answer the questions he wanted to answer and essentially chastising reporters and people asking questions that he didn't want to answer or he didn't deem important or valuable. And, there are real issues in this country, right? I forget exactly, but I think, is it like there's 48, almost 50 boil water advisories that are short term, I think right now on First Nations communities. And I think there's another 30 that are long-term boil advisories, if I remember correctly. Like that actually should have just been fixed a long fucking time ago. And we should all be embarrassed as Canadians that it's been allowed to go that far. Now, again, the reserve system is a very complex, complicated thing. I don't think any single politician could just wave his wand and immediately fix it. However, getting drinkable water feels like one of those things that we should be able to wave a wand and magically fix. It really does feel like it should be something that could be fixed and then the details sorted out afterwards. And I certainly would have rather seen that than an election called at the time. But again, if it turns out that the Liberals don't end up with their minority and end up losing some ground here, I'll call it even. I won't be too mad at Trudeau, I guess. But certainly, it was just fascinating to see how this election cycle evolved. And I'd love to hear, where did you guys turn for your news, your resources during this election cycle? Are you going to CTV, CBC, Toronto Star? What sources do you turn to in order to get your news? Are you going to alternative news sources like my buddy Mark at Canada Poly? And again, reminder, if you guys haven't checked him out, he live streams, I think he does it every single day, and just kind of chatting about his opinion, his hot takes in regards to what's going on in Canada and to a lesser extent the world, and really covers a lot of local politics as well. So again, definitely encourage you guys to check out Mark and his forums as well if you haven't spent any time there. But yeah, I'd love to hear where you're getting your sources and your news from. And who was it? I think there was another. No, I guess that's not the website. There was another website too that had a great, just little comparison about what happened last year versus this year. I might have accidentally closed that tab as well. Oh, actually, here's one that'll work. So essentially, just a reminder, back in 2019, essentially, this is just interesting in and of itself, is the PPC weren't even listed here, right? They would have been under other, I guess. Obviously now in 2021, they're certainly taking on a bigger role, a bigger position in regards to the mental mindshare, regardless of the fact that the mainstream. Oh, I'm not screen sharing. That's my bad. Sorry about that, guys. This is what I was talking about here. So you can see back in 2019, the PPC wasn't even on the radar. They were just under other. And let me just move that here. There you go. They would have been under other, where now in 2021, they actually get their own line item here. So again, it's been fascinating to see this party develop over time. I wish them nothing but the best of luck. And I'd love to see them get a handful of seats, love to see them build upon the momentum that they've already had up until this point. And if and when there's another election, I would love to see them become a much bigger player than what we've seen up until this point. So it's always cool to see developments in the Canadian political landscape. All right, what's going on in the comments section here? So we've got Peter said he went purple. Sounds like Alan also did. 100% agree, Mr. Experiment. Anyone not going purple lives under a rock. It will be cool if you and David Dole from Rational National did a collaboration video about politics. I'm not familiar with David, but I appreciate you recommending that, Brandon, and I'll definitely look into it. Because it's always fun to meet, fellow Canadians, influencers, people talking about things that are important to me. I already like the name of the show if it's Rational National. Alan saying Trudeau was hoping he could sneak in a majority, but yes, you can't trust the polls entirely. Absolutely. Jordan saying, I'm not too familiar with Canadian elections. Is it much different from USA? Yeah, it's pretty different. Sorry, Jaden. It's pretty different there, Jaden. In the regards that one, we've got a multi-party system. Sometimes parties will get in with a minority and be able to. They don't necessarily build coalition governments to the extent that you necessarily see in a lot of like European parliaments. I don't know. Is it fair to say that like Canada's kind of halfway between the US and Europe? That also just feels like the cop-out that we regularly use for just about anything here in Canada. But I don't think that that's a terrible example for someone that's just looking for a high-level summary of what's going on. One thing that's interesting right now is it honestly feels like in Canada, we've only got one party that's really right of center, and that's the People's Party. I'd love to know, do you guys like the People's Party of Canada name? It feels just way too similar to the CCP to me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just like ridiculous or silly, but I've never liked that name. Again, that's no real reflection on the party in of itself, but there's just something about it. And again, their platform, at least on the surface, going to be further from the CCP, but it's really interesting to see so many parties that essentially are left of center in Canada. And again, I don't spend a lot of time studying European politics, so maybe that's far more common in their parliaments as well to have a lot of left of center parties. But yeah, I would say the People's Party is the only true right of center or conservative party, even though we have a party called the Conservatives. Sometimes what you'll hear conservatives in any political sphere chastised for is they're just trying to keep in place whatever the Liberals wanted 20 years ago, right? And I think this is one of the struggles of conservative politics in general, is that sometimes it's less clear what the identity is, where at least on a lot of like far left or liberal oriented policies, at least it stands out. And I think that unfortunately here in Canada, the Conservative Party, they're not trying to hold the line at what the Liberals wanted 20 years ago. It seems like these days they're trying to hold the line at what the Liberals wanted a year ago. And that's where it really just feels like I can barely tell the difference on what's going on in regards to, the conservative, the right-oriented discussions. And Alan Grace comments here, too busy virtue signaling with Afghan refugees arriving in 2015, just after he took office, but no time to take care of First Nations people. Yeah, again, like it's obviously complicated, but there's just no excuse why we shouldn't be able to solve the water issues. And again, like solve it and figure out who pays the bill afterwards. But one of the few times where I'm going to be like, yeah, government, just roll up your goddamn sleeves. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe it's on us as Canadians. I'm not aware of any like not-for-profits that are trying to lead the charge on that. Again, it doesn't seem like it should be that difficult to drill some wells, to if you have to rerun the pipes. Actually, now that I'm talking about it out loud, I actually need to just research this shit myself and understand why the fuck it's so hard for Canada to get drinking water on the reserves, because it actually does boggle my mind, at least on the surface. And maybe there's a really good reason below the surface, but it's hard for me to believe that it's not just politics that are hijacking the narrative there. Dr. Bryce Banner, not sure if he's a real doctor, but PPC is the only party in Canada currently that is totally corrupt from the core to the leadership. Oh, that isn't. Okay. Yeah, that was an important isn't there. Yeah, again, I don't want to paint any party in Canada. Any party is the perfect party or as the salvation to Canada. Because at the end of the day, the moment we start putting all of our beliefs, all of our decisions in the party of others, in the hands of others, into some sort of messiah figure that's just going to save us from ourselves, that essentially is another easy way for us to try and absolve ourselves of responsibility. And if you can't find a way to almost always circle back to yourself and take responsibility for the situation you find yourself in, one, you're going to ever struggle to really reach your full potential, in my opinion. And two, like it's a mental shortcut. You're robbing yourself of agency, and that truly should be concerning. Not sure if you guys pay much attention to Twitter, but it is interesting how often on Twitter you see the purple wave here trending in Canada. So checking it out here. Oh, now it's Trudeau must go. I'm not going to complain about that one either, but before it was purple. So, oh yeah, hey, there's our prime minister. That's I keep forgetting my screen share is not on. That's my bad, guys. But essentially, Trudeau must go is what's currently trending on Twitter Canada. So And before that, it was the purple wave. Oh, now we got the purple wave going again. So we'll open up both of them. So essentially, again, if you guys aren't following Max, really encourage you to follow him. And it was interesting to see that Max finally caught up to Aaron O'Toole in regards to Twitter followers. And it looks like he actually even surpassed him now. And that's without getting on the main stages, being involved in all the big debates and things of that nature. So, again, it would be a lot of fun to see a purple wave sweep the nation. But for such a new party and Canadians being Canadians, it is hard for me to fully believe that. But I don't know. What do you think? What's a reasonable goal for the purple to aim for here? Or what are you hoping to see them accomplish? You know, if we could see like 5+ seats go purple, that would be wonderful. I would hate to see, 0, because I would just hate for them to lose any of the momentum they've built up to this point in time. There's a lot of great people, and it seems to be a lot of great energy right now. What's going on? And actually, speaking of that, if you guys follow me on Unfiltered, you've probably seen me share this guy's Instagram and Twitter before. But let me pull it up. I don't want to open that, but I'll open this. So if you guys aren't following Chad, I really encourage you to follow him. He's a lot of fun to follow on Instagram, and it's hard for me to really complain about a lot of his comments. So let me see. What were a couple of the good ones that I really enjoyed? Yeah, I really love this one. It also sent me down a rabbit hole of listening to 90s music. But men, you're never going to meet a woman out here with a mask on. They literally told us 20 years ago they don't want no scrubs. Taking that shit off is a good start. Not being a complete fucking loser is another. Yeah, I get a kick out of following him. And there's a level of authenticity and a level of just realness that seems to come with the PPC party compared to every other party that's scripted, every other party that's telling you what you want to hear rather than what they actually believe. And it is refreshing to see this occurring in Canada. Again, would love to see it continuing to grow. If you guys haven't paid attention, and again, if you've been only following the mainstream media, it'd be very easy to ignore the PPC. I think Jordan Peterson has done a great interview with Bernier, as well as Michael Malice also had him on his show. It was great seeing him essentially start touring some of the intellectual dark web, right? Because, hey, those are, Peterson and Malice are both people I really respect. And, they're actually going to ask interesting questions and explore interesting topics with a political leader rather than just asking whatever canned answers and then getting whatever canned responses were already prepared in advance. Because, what's the point? Jake the Snake is saying he's PPC or die. Jaden's going in a different direction here, but I'm happy to answer it. Now, just a tad off topic, but I really need to know is, will you ever release an NFT collection? Yeah, I will. Absolutely. At some point in time, I expect release an NFT collection. It's not just going to be like a profile photo, though, so like a PFP project. I will actually be focused on really trying to add some utility. Right now, if you guys haven't been paying attention, I'm currently working with a local artist, Dan the Rapper, or Dan the Lost Boy, and now he's Dan the NFT Boy. Let's just pull up Dan. And every week, Dan's releasing different NFT songs, and he's absolutely crushing it. So much fun just seeing him do his thing. And let me see if I can. Oh, did I do? I don't know if I shared sound, but I'm going to stop my screen share here for a sec. We'll start it up again. Make sure I click that share system audio, and I'll let you guys sample some of Dan's songs. And so essentially what we're planning on doing is creating a musical NFT project where we'll be able to actually have people participate and, buy tokens. And from those tokens, they'll be able to create custom songs where they can actually own some of the commercial rights to that song. So in theory, you could get a song produced by Dan, get the NFT, and then literally put it up on Spotify, put it up on YouTube, put it up on SoundCloud, and start making that streaming revenue. So this is the one he did with VeeFriends. This is Gary Vee's NFT project, if you're unfamiliar. And those are actually two of the NFTs I own.
What's the hype about these VeeFriends? I'm surfing through OpenSea, diving in the deep end. Saw Gary Vee drop top with the VeeFriends, plotting on the cop Discord for the weekend. Chat popping off, the community is beastin'. If you got a VeeFriend, then we can be friends. Ballin' like the Jets, UBS, that's the East End. If you got a VeeFriend, then we can be friends. Hand-drawn VCon, together you need them. Dropping into VCon, hanging with the DGens. JPEG summer, it's an NFT season. On the blockchain, yeah, everybody sees them. Gary Vee dropped in, I thought I need at least 10. Hang out hot, OG Ox. You got Flex and Fox, Adventurous Astronaut. Please connect the dots, cause there's an extra plot. JPEG what's on top before it gets unlocked. Got a token in your wallet, then that's basically a membership. Wanna go to VCon, you'll need one just to enter it. Prove it on the blockchain, there ain't no more pretending it. Watch how all the talk change, I think you should remember this. If you got a VeeFriend, then we can be friends. Ballin' like the Jets, UBS, that's the East End. If you got a VeeFriend, then we can be friends. Hand-drawn VCon, together you need them. If you got a VeeFriend, then we can be friends. Ballin' like the Jets, UBS, that's the East End. If you got a VeeFriend, then we can be friends. Hand-drawn VCon, together you need.
No, I haven't heard of Ricky, but I'll check him out. And yeah, always fun to learn about other real estate influencers. And if he launched his own NFT, that's kind of interesting. And appreciate the support. And yeah, stay tuned to the Unfiltered channel. And I'm sure at some point in time, you know, we'll let you guys know when you can participate in Dan the Lost Boy or Dan the NFT Boy's music NFT project as well. Eventually, I plan on releasing a NFT project that I plan to have a lot of utility behind around the Problems and Profits brand. And that'll also tie in or dovetail into the Citadel. So again, you know, just stay tuned. There's definitely a lot of things working behind the scenes these days. And I'm also planning the move, obviously, right? So that takes up a wee bit of time as well. Let's see what's going on. Any real developments here yet in regards to the federal election? Doesn't look like anything too crazy is going on yet. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, to be honest, I could probably just ramble on all night sharing with you guys these live stream results, but it probably wouldn't do me any good. It probably wouldn't really do you any good. So I think I'm actually going to wrap up here, but I appreciate you guys jumping on. Appreciate those of you sharing your opinions and perspectives when it comes to politics, and definitely want to encourage you guys to take personal ownership to whatever degree that you're capable of, right? Start with a small internal locus of control if that's where you need to start, and slowly keep expanding it. And as you continue to expand it, you know, just always ask yourself, is there a way that, not to a crazy extent, but is there a way that I can kind of find fault to myself for the way this situation turned out? Maybe I had wrong expectations or impractical or improbable expectations, or maybe I just didn't put in enough effort. And again, as you expand that locus of control, as you start to really see that, hey, I can really influence myself, I can influence my decisions, my actions, I can influence the world around me, all of a sudden the world becomes a little bit less of a scary place. And these days, it can seem kind of dark at times. So that's why things like the Citadel to me are so important. It's why I believe in really trying to get back and connected with eating just whole foods, right? Growing my own food. It's why I think, you know, decoupling from the fiat currency system is so important. So again, start learning about Bitcoin. Start understanding what's going on with NFTs and smart contracts and things of that nature. Understand that Bitcoin is not the same thing as other cryptocurrencies, though it is unique unto itself. And that is where I'd really encourage you guys to start your journey in this space. And again, another part of the Citadel that I'm really focused on these days is, you know, building a real community, building deep social bonds, understanding and knowing who your neighbor are, right? Interacting with them on a regular basis, not just being stuck on an island onto yourself in suburbia, or not being a Luddite in the middle of nowhere either. Because again, I can understand why people come to dark conclusions right now. I think that there's a lot of shenanigans going on in the world, to say it mildly. And well, you can dwell on that and go down really dark rabbit holes. You can, black pill yourself. That comes after the red pill. But hopefully on the other side of the black pill, you find the white pill and you realize that, hey, there's certain aspects of this I can control. I can reduce the ability for them to influence or infringe upon my rights and freedoms. I can, really start building relationships with the people around me. I can really start focusing on taking care of my health and my financial wealth. And I think that that's the biggest fuck you we can give to the system these days, is to, not be a slave and in debt, to get off the fiat currency system and start using things like Bitcoin and the Lightning node, to get reconnected with your food so you're not as dependent on pharmaceuticals and, other expensive treatments, rather than trying to focus on preventative measures, as well as like raising your children, right? Having lots of children, taking back control of the narrative of what your community and your relationships look like. Those are all things that we can consistently improve upon and make better day by day. I really challenge you guys, regardless of who gets into power, who ends up becoming prime minister, whatever color or party has their wave take over. Again, we can still actually just build a better future. And so that's what's also, I guess, important for me to, really express or stress these days about the Citadel. The Citadel isn't me running away from society. And I see that amongst, some of my wealthy peers, where they're just running away rather than trying to stay and fight. I see others that just hope if they ignore what's going on long enough, that hopefully somehow it'll just disappear and no longer be an issue. And if I believe that to be true, I understand why you'd want to take that path, but it's not true, right? All that's necessary for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. And we're seeing that right now at scale across the Western world. And it's up to each and every one of us to take back control of our lives to whatever degree we're capable of today, and then make sure we do more tomorrow and continue and build upon that iterative process for as long as you can, because you've only got one life to live. And it scares the shit out of me the way I see so many people living as if they're going to get a do-over, or like next time they'll do a better life. You've got this one, make the most of it, because again, it's the only one you're likely going to get. So if you guys want to learn more about the Citadel, as always, there's a link in the video description down below. Join the Problems and Profits Discord. Interact there. Again, even if it's not practical for you to ever move there, start building virtual friends that are actually trying to take back control of their lives, that are trying to find agency, that are trying to make today just a little bit better than yesterday. Because there's more than enough people that are happy to just tear down what we've already built. Let's build upon what we have, but also not become beholden to what we have. There's no glory in safety. And this idea that we're racing towards absolute safety somehow is one, naive, because there's no true 100% guarantee of safety anywhere or anytime. And so to pretend otherwise is just naive or pandering from politicians. And understand that politicians, they are, as Murray Rothbard states, just the parasite class. They literally just siphon off money via taxes and inflation from you, right? They should at least live at our digression, right? They should live at our patience, not the other way around. It's far too often that they act as if we need them rather than they need us. And that's true in any system. It doesn't even need to be a democracy. At the end of the day, if the vast majority of people decide to stand up against what's wrong, we can eventually overcome that, right? That was kind of the gist of 1984, that if there was any hope, the hope lied in the proles. And understand that's each and every one of us, regardless of whether you've built up your real estate nest egg, whether you're just starting your real estate investment journey, or you've got no real estate. Each one of us has a responsibility to take ownership over what we can control, as well as speak the truth, right? You need to speak the truth. Speak out against things that you know are wrong. And I'm not even telling you to speak, the truth trademarked. Speak your truth, right? Speak what you believe to be correct. Now, try and inform yourself, find multiple sources, all those good things. Try not jump to conclusions too often. We're all human. But to not speak out whatsoever during these crazy freaking times, understand that that's on you, whatever the future holds. So at least if we speak out and we still end up with a dark timeline, well, at least we can look back on our past selves and be proud for having spoken out. And just appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed these random ramblings. Fingers crossed we don't end up with a red majority. And I'll see you on the other side of the Canadian election. Thanks, guys.